I'm thinking going home today. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to go ahead and do Taco Tuesday breakfast style. Today we're going to go grab tacos from the, I guess you can say, food court at my job. That's kind of cool. I'm going to go ahead and grab some breakfast tacos from Cilantro's. All right, here we go. For the record, I've never had breakfast tacos from here before. So this will be the first time you guys can see me do a TTT at the spot of my job. Yeah. The Southwest, the spicy jalapeno, and of course chorizo. Gotta have the sauce. Not bad. Ooh. The jalapeno sausage. Sauce. Potato and egg. Sauce. Okay. Best one, the chorizo, potato, and egg. That's good. Second best, the Southwest. That's really good. Not bad. Not bad. Overall grade, a 6.5 TTT. A taco taste test score of a 6.5. Yeah. Not bad at all.
Hey, Brady! Brady Quinn! The Jets aren't starting 0-9! Hey, Brady! Brady Quinn! The Jets aren't starting 0-9!
I can do it all, I will never fall. It's the Renaissance, you know that I got the mother sauce, man. You know I'm the boss, I know what it costs. Have you ever lost? I'm so versatile, yeah, I'm a Renaissance, man. I can do it all, I will never fall. It's the Renaissance, you know that I got the mother sauce, man. You know I'm the boss, I know what it costs. Have you ever lost? I'm so versatile, yeah, I'm a Renaissance, man.
Congratulations, brother.
And here we go. All right, all right. Thank you very much for joining us today. Listen, today we got a real special guest with us, man. Jhett Garrett was able to go ahead and do and accomplish something that I think the majority of us Jets fans have been dying to do since the beginning of the season. He got to actually call out Brady Quinn on his most asinine take of the year. 0-9 didn't happen. This man was able to go ahead and literally interact with him and let him know that he was way off base. So without further ado, my freaking guest for today, Jhett Garrett.
Hey. What's going on? What's going on? How are we?
I'm good, Jhett. How you doing today, bro?
I'm doing pretty good, man. This is awesome. I'm glad I get to sit down and just talk with some fellow Jets fans here. I'm from Indiana. There's not many of them. There's not many of them over here. It's usually just my dad and I. So usually, getting to talk to other Jets fans is really cool.
That's awesome, bro. Hey, look, man, I appreciate you coming through and adjusting with me. I know yesterday we were supposed to get this thing done. Like I told you before, man, the birthday thing, I walked into it. I couldn't get away. So I appreciate you adjusting your schedule to go ahead and accommodate.
Absolutely.
So, bro, you got to tell us, man, like, how was it that you were able to go ahead and get to Brady Quinn and call that man out?
Well, I got to say it first. I don't think a lot of people know this. I am a Notre Dame fan. I know the Boo Birds can come in. I am a Notre Dame fan. But I go to Indiana University, and we played Michigan on that day. So the Fox Big Noon kickoff was here, and obviously Brady Quinn is on that show. And where I was standing, Brady Quinn and I don't even remember who, they came over and they did their part of the show. They did the segment. And I think it was during commercial break, I started yelling at him. And I was like, hey, Brady. And I started yelling, the Jets aren't 0-9. I was Jets. I was getting the chant going. I thought, you know what? I need to record that. The people on Twitter would absolutely love it. And I did. And the rest is history. And it was a really cool moment because he could hear me. He could definitely hear me. There's no way he couldn't hear me. One of these days maybe he'll own up to it, but it was just a really cool moment.
Man, I ain't gonna lie to you. I saw that tweet come across my freaking timeline, and I was like, "Who's this guy, Jhett Garrett?" And then I clicked into the video, and I was like, "Oh man, this is gold. This guy automatically gets into the New York Jet Fanatic Hall of Fame because that was just golden." So of course I had to reach out, bro, and I sent you that helmet. I was like, you know what?
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna go ahead and freaking do a giveaway, and I was like, nah, man, you earned that all day because you did something that I think all of us as Jets fans have been trying to do on Twitter. On Instagram, everywhere he's at, I've been trying to hit him up. He's not going to respond, obviously. Yeah. I think the last thing he brought up was he's going to try to give a charitable donation to every team that went. Nah, man. It's good on you for doing freaking charity work. We appreciate that. But nonetheless, you're going to be known as the guy that told us that the Jets are going to go 0-9, and you were way off base. Way off. But I got another question for you, man, before we start talking football. So, Jhett Garrett. Now, we've talked a little bit, and you told me that you're actually, in fact, I think your picture literally says, I'm named after the Jets.
Yeah, I am.
Gotta tell me that story.
I am. My name is Jhett because of the New York Jets. That is a true story. I mean, I've heard, bits and pieces of the story. I don't know. I remember when my mom told me that when they found out that I was a boy, my dad just up and said, well, now I can name my son Jhett. And it kind of caught her by surprise, obviously, but I guess he did some talking, and she didn't want to name me J-E-T, so that's why it's the J-H-E-T-T. It's different, okay. And but yeah, I'm actually named after the New York Jets football team.
Hey, man, respect to your pops. Because if I had told my wife I wanted to name our son Jhett, I would have probably got karate chopped in the throat. And the pure fact that your mom was just like, all right, I'll adapt to this. We're just going to have to change the spelling up.
Yeah.
And nothing but respects to your pops, man. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, well, named after the Jets, you got to call out Brady Quinn, one of the guys that right now is infamous amongst New York Jets fans and, of course, the Jets. So, got to ask you, man, what has shocked you about the 2022 Jets 6 games into the season?
Man, I actually so I do have the TikTok. I do the TikTok thing. I predicted them starting at about 3-3. I think.
Okay.
I think I had them starting out at 3-3, whatever. But man, I mean, I could have never imagined that they would have this kind of a start. I said going into the year, I said, man, if they get good quarterback play from Zach Wilson, I think on the defensive side of the ball, I think they look really good. The offensive line's revamped. It looks good. They've got weapons. I thought it was going to come down to Zach Wilson, and I think Zach Wilson has done plenty to keep the Jets in football games. He doesn't have to go out and throw 300 yards and 4 touchdowns every game. He doesn't have to do that. He just has to manage the game and keep the ball in our hands. And I mean, I don't know what I guess I'm a little surprised. I'm surprised as how well we're playing and we're dominating these teams. But I'm not really surprised at all that we're 4-2. I thought we had every chance in the world to be 4-2 at this point.
Okay, fair enough. I'll be the first to admit I had us at 3-3 at this point of the year. I did not have us, you know what I'm saying, beating the likes of the Packers. I didn't have us beating the Steelers. I had us taking a couple of L's, and of course the Ravens was the team that I thought we could beat, which I thought we played pretty well against too. But I think for me, man, when it comes down to it, it's not that the record specifically being 4-2. It's just how we're winning games. Since Zach has come back, the New York Jets have played football in ways we've never seen before. And I think as a fan, like we're almost kind of like taken aback by it. Like we're still waiting for like everything to kind of like come crashing down because these guys are gunning it out. Like they're playing a full 60 minutes of football. And I think that's been the most shocking thing to me is just how well this coaching staff has turned around this culture and got these guys playing on all cylinders, not just like from the beginning to the second quarter to the third quarter. No, this is a full 4 quarters of football we're seeing and witnessing. And they're leading in some impressive categories as well that you wouldn't think the New York Jets of old would lead. So for me, I think the shocking aspect has been just like how well they play from beginning to end, because I was expecting us to go ahead and win either defensively some games, offensively some games, but there's been some games in between where it's just like straight gutting it out to get those wins. And that to me has been the most shocking thing, man. But so you had them at 3-3, not shocked by 4-2. I had them at 3-3.
Yeah, I thought I could see us if Zach Wilson's playing this whole year. I could see us at 5-1. I mean, I think we win that Ravens game if we've got Zach Wilson playing. Honestly, if we have good quarterback play, we probably beat the Ravens in that game. Obviously, when we lost the Bengals, I mean that was just everywhere. But that Ravens game, I think if Zach Wilson's playing, we're at 5-1 right now.
100%. The defense did their job in containing freaking Lamar Jackson, and that's not an easy thing to do. We've seen him since playing us kind of gone off against other teams, and that's a credit to, again, great coaching, preparing those guys to set the edges. I was very, very impressed with what we saw with the freaking Jets versus the Ravens. Again, competent quarterback play. It looks like freaking Joe Flacco was like a deer in headlights. He wasn't looking at open wide receivers. And then, of course, going back and watching tape, and you saw just how open some of these guys were, it just made it worse. Yeah, I agree. I think with Zach Wilson back there, you don't have a statue like Joe. He's able to extend some plays. And we didn't need much, to go ahead and win in that game. And I think he would have been able to make that happen. So with that said, I guess the next question I have for you is, who has impressed you the most on this roster?
It's so tough. I saw a poll today, and it was Quinn, Elijah Vera Tucker, Sauce Gardner, Breece Hall. I mean, I want to say Elijah Vera Tucker just because he's played 3 different positions on the offensive line, one of which he's never played in his life, and he's dominated and competed and played very well, and that's so huge to see for an offensive line, especially on the Jets who have struggled at offensive line for years. But I got to give it to Sauce Gardner. I mean, the way that he is competing with some of the best receivers in all of football, and he's doing it as a rookie. I mean, he's locked down Mark Andrews, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, just Lazard this past week, Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. For him to do that as a rookie, I mean, that's unreal. And I think that's unheard of because you look at guys like, Jeff Okudah, for example, who had a really rough rookie season. Obviously now I think he's getting into it a little bit, Okudah is, but I mean, Gardner's doing this as a rookie, and he's playing like a seasoned veteran, and he's in the conversation, in my opinion, for the best cornerback in football right now, already as a rookie.
Wow. Okay. All right. So you definitely had me in regards to my pick. It was definitely Sauce, right? So I can't copy you now because you just made a very, very valid point. AVT definitely a huge honorable mention. I think by far he's been the best player on this roster, only because we've asked that man to go ahead and play 3 different positions, and he's played them at very, very high levels of play. So AVT has definitely been a surprise for me. But I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I guess since you took my boy Sauce, I'm gonna go on the other side of the ball on the offensive side. And I gotta say with Breece Hall, man, I think Breece Hall, again, I know the transition from college to the NFL, the running back position is one of the easiest positions to kind of like translate to, right? Like it's almost natural in terms of, okay, boom, there's the hole, attack the hole, make things happen. But in this offense, man, we're asking him to do a lot more than just find the hole and run, right? Like he's got to go ahead and be able to catch outside of the backfield, run routes, understand freaking protections and whatnot on the blitzes, blocking schemes. And one of the things that really caught my attention is this past week, right, when he ran for that touchdown against Lambeau Field. A lot of people don't realize this. I don't know if you knew this, but that play was not a designed run. It was supposed to be a pitch, right? And when he went to pitch the ball, the defensive end had gotten too far back into the backfield, and he had to make an adjustment and made a cut and just ran upfield. Like Dwayne Brown was saying that when he looked back, he was expecting either one, he was going to go ahead and run behind him to the outside on the left, or it was supposed to be a pitch going the other way. When he looked back, he didn't see freaking Breece Hall. He looked across the field. He didn't see freaking, I think it was Garrett Wilson with the ball. And all of a sudden, freaking Breece Hall was in the end zone. That was a high IQ play. And it goes back to what you were saying about Sauce, right? Like, Sauce Gardner, I think, forget Defensive Rookie of the Year. Like, he could legitimately be a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year the way he's playing right now. If I'm not mistaken, I think he leads now all freaking NFL DBs in passes defended after this game on against the Packers. And it's the high IQ veteran style of play that we're seeing from these rookies that has shocked a lot of people. We knew they were good. I don't think anybody doubted like Sauce was going to be good. Nobody doubted Breece was going to be good. It's the high IQ plays these guys have shown and displayed, stuff you don't usually see in first-year players, that has been very, very impressive. So since you took my boy Sauce, I got to go with Breece Hall. I think Breece Hall was instrumental, as was Sauce, in the last 2 games for us to get these W's. And when you start winning like that, man, with the young nucleus of your team, my goodness, man, the ceiling is pretty much like, it's endless. You can reach as many ceilings as you want to.
Yeah. Breece is that. I mean, that's a good pick. Breece has been unreal.
For real, though. I'm glad I picked him up on fantasy football. I got him in about 4
traded
weeks.
for him. I traded for him.
Smart man.
I traded Michael Carter and Brandon Cooks for him, and everyone was questioning me. Why'd you do that?
This is why.
Before the Steelers week, I did it, and my dad was asking me, "Why would you do that?" You'll see.
And I think he's potentially going to be. It sounds, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but I think in terms of scrimmage yards, he might be RB1 this year.
Yeah, it'd be close.
Yeah, and I think he's legitimately in the conversation for next year to be the first running back taken in fantasy football. Breece Hall is just, that boy is special. He's special.
Especially if he's getting receptions out of the backfield. I mean, come on.
You know what I'm saying? Come on, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. He's like Jonathan Taylor 2.0. He's bigger and a little bit faster than Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, that's just disgusting. Okay, so then I got to ask you this, man. What doubts did you have before the season started, and have they been alleviated since watching these guys play?
My doubts going into the year, I don't want to say doubt with Zach Wilson. It was kind of a what can he do kind of, I guess, thought. And then, I mean, at the end of the day, it's the same old Jets, and that was kind of, you get used to that as a Jets fan, you get used to, like you said, and you said it in a tweet earlier today I saw you, so you got to get used to this is not the Jets of old. This is not the same old Jets. It's not. I think that was one of the biggest surprises to me was that. But doubt, I don't know. I really think I more than anything doubted what are we going to be able to do at quarterback? Is Zach Wilson going to be able to come back this season and play well? And I think that he's really, I mean, he's making the big throws that need to be made, and he's keeping us in games.
Okay, I like that. But that a lot. If I'm being honest with you, man, I think my biggest doubt coming into this season, man, was our safety play. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I felt, after Whitehead, there was a lot of question marks when it came to that safety room. And I think early on, you saw a lot of people you saw the first couple of games where it was proven those guys were liabilities. And I'm not sure if you saw my video, but I wound up having to eat receipts after that Steelers game because, Joyner being one of my biggest culprits of being a liability, he balled out, man. He had a great game. And then I don't think they've kind of turned it off ever since. Ever since that Steelers game, you've seen high-level play from that safety room. The safeties have been playing good ball. Safeties and linebackers, I think, and of course, the offensive line with all the injuries. But before the injuries, safety and linebacker was unanimously amongst Jets fans the biggest concern. You know, we saw Zach Wilson take a step forward coming back from injury last year. I think it was like 70-30, 60-40 that, you know what, he might be continuing to move forward now with a better cast around him. But in terms of like the holes, we were like, man, this safety room and linebacker room has holes all over the place.
Yeah. Joyner and Whitehead definitely. They had me. I was high on them coming into the year, though. I was like, man, Whitehead, you know, he's young. He's come from Tampa Bay. It's a good system over there. He can but they struggled the first few games, but they've locked it up ever since. I mean, DJ Reed said that. Said, you know, they got to communicate better, and ever since then, they have been just playing unreal, and I love it.
And I think that's the crazy thing to me is that DJ Reed called it out. He legitimately stated, like, listen, we are better than this. The issue is a lack of communication. We need to go ahead and do a team meeting and fix this. And you haven't seen miscommunication with this team ever since. Even the freaking the ticky-tack flags they've gotten, penalties that they've gotten, have been like literally like 50-50, you know, flags. Like they haven't been legitimately like, oh man, that was blatantly disgusting. Like it's like they knew they had to clean some things up, and they've been playing pretty good ball ever since. I think right now it's a pleasant surprise because I was really, really worried that at the end of the day, we had good DBs. Again, I had no idea we were going to get this level of play from freaking Sauce Gardner, but man, am I excited that we have. And we know our defensive line was going to be the strength, right? And the secondary and linebacker group were going to be freaking liabilities. And oddly enough, there hasn't really been a situation since that Steelers game that we can honestly say the linebacker group is trash or the safeties are trash. Like across the board on defense, we've gotten average to above average play from everybody. Like everything has been average to up and up. It hasn't been nothing below that. And that to me, like, man, it's alleviated my concerns. Now, again, I'm not saying like we start handing out contracts to Joyner and whatnot. I still think like next year we need to focus on some things. But it's good to be in a situation right now in week 6 going into week 7 that as a Jets fan, we don't got to be looking at college football games trying to figure out who the best prospects are for the draft next year. So it's a big difference, and I'm loving it, man. I'm loving it. All right, here we go. So now a lot of people right now are looking at this, and of course there's some that say like the Jets wins have been against like backups and third string freaking quarterbacks, whatever. Even though we just beat Aaron Rodgers, some people are still going to go ahead and throw that out there. So with that said, do you think the Jets are for real, or do you see it all crashing down any game now?
It goes back to the same old Jets thing, man. We have to get out of our head that these are not the same old Jets. I think that they're for real. I do. And I think that a lot of people around the league think that the Jets are for real. And I think that it's going to kind of determine. I mean, these next 2 games are big. Games are big. If you can beat the Broncos and the Patriots and go into your bye week at 6-2, I mean, it's tough to not make the playoffs at that point, especially with the way our back half of the schedule is. So I'm going to say the Jets are for real. I think that this is a 10-win team. I think that the Jets will be playing in the playoffs this season.
Ooh, okay.
I think the Jets will be in the playoffs this season.
I like that. I like that a lot. All right. Yeah, man, I think I'm right there with you, man. Like, I think I won't lie. After the Cleveland Browns game, I was like, man, it was exciting. That was awesome. But, man, talk about being lucky, right? Lucky win. The Steelers game, we came back in the fourth quarter. We had Zach Wilson play almost perfect in the fourth to get that win. How sustainable is perfect play? I was like, all right, he's shown us progress. We're seeing those steps we were talking about we wanted to see from our quarterback. That's great. But a little bit of, you know what I'm saying, like football gods on our side in that game. And then we played the Miami Dolphins. That was a very convincing beatdown. And I don't care if they had their third string, their fourth string. I don't care if freaking Coach McDaniels out there playing freaking quarterback. That offense ran through that defense as if they weren't even on the field. And I think then it made me feel more like, okay, all right, this wasn't just like, oh, we beat them by freaking a touchdown or beat them by a couple of points. If it was like a couple of points against a third string guy, I'd have been like, still a lot of question marks about like if this team is lucky or not. But that was a beatdown, man. We could have spotted them 2-3 touchdowns, and it wouldn't have mattered. We would have still won that game. And regardless of what they think, like Skylar Thompson apparently is supposed to be the next coming of freaking, you know what I'm saying, Tom Brady for them in terms of like too. So like, and that made me realize, okay, hold on now. That's 3 wins. We're 3-2. Zach Wilson is undefeated. Like this is saying something. And then of course, you know, we just played against the Green Bay Packers. And I actually tweeted this out before the game. I stated that if the Jets go into Lambeau Field and they win this game in December, they're legitimately in that little freaking like wild card, like, you know what I'm saying, in the hunt freaking thing. And if we make the playoffs and beat our first opponent, we're going to be in the AFC Championship game. Now, that's my hot take, but like think about it. If we get into the playoffs and we beat our first opponent, I see the Jets being in the AFC Championship game. Now, granted, it's either going to be Kansas City or Buffalo. At that point,
yeah, you know, we'll see where we are. We'll see where we are then. But man, I mean, after the years and years of suffering as a Jets fan, I've never seen them make the playoffs. I know they made it in 2010. I was alive then, but I wasn't, you know, a huge Jets fan. I was 7 years old. I've never seen the Jets make the playoffs. Close I was 2015 with, you know, Ryan Fitzpatrick and Brandon Marshall, you know?
Yeah.
So to see the Jets go to the AFC Championship, I mean, that would be crazy to me.
Look, I got to see it, man. And all I can tell you is it's a whole other level of fanatic. Like, as a Jets fan, we wind up freaking going to the AFC Championship game. The famous Bart Scott can't wait. Freaking, bro, we were this close to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I honestly believe we would have won that Super Bowl if we went. I honestly believe it.
That's what I always we went to. Was that the year we lost the Colts or the Steelers you're talking about?
Steelers.
Yep. We watched them when we went to Indianapolis last year, and I saw the banner up there, and I was like, man, that, you know, because the Jets, I mean, they played the Colts in the playoffs and got, you know, down. I was like, Dad, you know, how tough was that one? You know?
That one, man.
Same with the Steelers. He hates that Steelers game.
But I'll tell you this, though. Even watching those games, a lot of it was, I think, the shock and awe of the Rex Ryan defense. That ground and pound game was very effective. I do believe overall we have a better roster of players now than we did then. Really? And I can say that because a good portion of those guys were a bunch of veterans brought in to go ahead and stack that defense, right? One thing I loved about Rex, yes, he could motivate and inspire. But when it came to Rex Ryan, a lot of the guys that were on that roster were already veterans. Guys he brought with him from the Ravens and people that he had known about. They were proven veterans in the game. So we didn't have a lot of young guys on that roster, you know what I'm saying, that I think Rex Ryan would have had to coach up and, you know what I'm saying, keep it. So at some point or another, like, it all comes crashing down when you got to pay these guys because the salary cap is the salary cap. Right now, the New York Jets are in this very unique position to where they're getting these wins right now and getting these impact wins with a very young core. Mm-hmm. And I was looking at the AFC East in general, right? What I realized is as dominant as the Buffalo Bills are right now, they've done it with a lot of very, very pricey veterans. And as such, next year, believe it or not, when they got to go ahead and pay that $49 million to Josh Allen, they're going to be in cap hell. Mm-hmm. They're going to have a very tough time keeping those freaking players intact. So they have a very short window in order for us to see success with those guys. They've got a short window. Whereas the New York Jets, we've got the next 4 years. Yeah. 5 if you want to go ahead and franchise tag some guys. Everybody's talking about the Quinn Williams situation. Oh, he's too good. We got to go ahead and be careful how much we pay the man. I was like, why? Who are we paying next year?
Yeah. I say send him a blank check, in my opinion. I said
Facts.
that. I said after the first half of the Packers game, I said give him a blank check at the half. Honestly, let him write whatever dollar amount at the half he wants to put in there, and let's go ahead and extend him today.
100%. I don't care if that man gets. I think what else? $21 million apparently for defensive tackle. Give that man $23 million. I don't care. Give it to him. You know why? We're not paying anybody next year. We're not. If we pay that man the money now and we front load it into next year's salary cap, we're talking about still having access to funds the following year. And you know what? We're still not paying anybody with this young nucleus of players that we have. I don't understand what the fear is, but for me, Quinn Williams, he's a must. He's like you said, blank check, get that man locked up.
Absolutely.
Quick minute here, man. I see a lot of guys are commenting, man. BK Trainer, man, what's up? Mark Riss, man, my guy, appreciate you, man, for the birthday wishes. It was a hell of a gift, you know what I'm saying, watching the Packers take an L. New York Sports Wicker Media, what's up, my guy? I know I'm going to be up with you a little bit here in about another hour and a half before we get on live. Hey, Jets Mess. Hey, what's good, man? Nice to see you guys. Dom, what's up, boys? So Dom right here, man. He's one of those like guys that if you don't know who these people are, man, like these are the guys that like have allowed me to elevate myself in terms of education when it comes to like freaking New York Jets football. Not just about like, watching the games with the X's and O's. So thank you guys for the support and then being in the channel right now, bro. I appreciate you guys. If y'all have any questions, feel free to ask them. You guys already know I'm going to go ahead and put them in. A lot of y'all probably already missed, like, the his story of how he was named Jhett, and you probably have missed already how he was able to go ahead and get after Brady Quinn. But this is pre-recorded. It'll go live after this. So if you want to know, you can ask it, and I can have him tell you the story again. But with that said, let's go to the next question. So now we're talking about playoffs. Now we've got the Denver Broncos coming up on Sunday. So how do you feel about this weekend's matchup?
Man, I don't want to get too high. I don't want to get too high. I don't want to get too low. I mean, their defense is great. Their defense is great. History would show, that whoever's quarterbacking for the Broncos this week is just going to go great. If it's Russell Wilson, this is going to be the game that gets Russell Wilson back on track. Their defense is good, man, but I really think that LaFleur can get this offense prepared, and he can set us up to where Breece Hall can. I say let Breece Hall run the ball 25 times this weekend. Let Wilson continue to be comfortable. He doesn't have to make the big play, doesn't have to make the big throw, but when he does have to make the big throw, set him up to where he can be successful. We've continued to do that all season, I think. We haven't put too much pressure on Zach Wilson, and he's played really well because of it. So as far as how worried am I about this weekend, it kind of goes back to do you think it's going to crash down? No, I don't think it's going to come crashing down, but if it's going to come crashing down, it's going to come very soon. So, I mean, if we win in Lambeau, I think we can very easily go into Denver and pick up a win.
Okay. All right. So I'm with you, man. I think that in terms of this weekend's matchup, a lot can go right, but a lot can go wrong real fast. And what it boils down to is Russell Wilson, like the Jets of old, would have allowed this game to be the game Russell Wilson regains his footing and has a top 3, top 5 quarterback performance in the NFL. Like that's what the old Jets would have allowed. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's going to be the case either. I really don't. I think this defense is for real. I think this defense is going to go ahead and keep things relatively close. They're going to go ahead and make it a nightmare day for freaking Russell Wilson. But I also don't think this is the game, like you said, we need Zach Wilson to be airing it out. Yeah. The Denver Broncos have a top 3 passing defense in the NFL. They have a middle of the tier freaking rushing. I think like 17th or 18th ranked rushing defense. So if I know a lot of freaking Jets fans are like, oh my God, like he's a bust. He hasn't given us that superstar game yet, but he hasn't had to. Like literally, this is what I think people bypass great coaching. Like football isn't about playing checkers. Oh, let's go ahead and just throw it. You throw it. I throw it. This isn't about skipping, and then getting to the king. It's playing chess. We've seen our coaches adapt the game plan to the opponent. And I don't know about you, I have not seen that in a very long time when it comes to the New York Jets. The ability to adapt and adjust and get the W, that's all I care about. Zach Wilson is 3-0 since coming back. When we asked him to go ahead and carry the game against Pittsburgh in the fourth quarter, he did. Flawlessly even. We haven't needed him to do that since then. Miami couldn't stop the run. Why would we go ahead and put it in the air and make it a game? Just run it all over them. They couldn't stop it. Green Bay couldn't stop the run. Between the defense and the running game and the special teams, hey, Zach could have just been out there pretty much just chilling for all we care. It's still a W. But the fact is, everybody is so inept with like, oh man, well you see, Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes just airing it out. That's happening because those guys have to put it on their shoulders. Mm-hmm. They have to carry those teams. Huge difference. Right now, hey, Joe Douglas and Coach Sala both said like, hey, we don't need you to go ahead and pretty much like, elevate us. We're going to elevate you. And we're seeing them accomplish that promise with Zach Wilson. I'm with you, man. Zach Wilson, for all I care, could throw no freaking passes this whole game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm there. I think, it's even this past week, and you can easily look at the stat sheet. Zach Wilson, a little over 100 yards. He's a bust. But if you're watching these games, and I know he struggled kind of a little bit in the first half. Yeah. And again, I just want to say here, I think that Packer defense is very good. I mean, that's a good Packer. It's not like we beat a struggling Packers team. Like I guess
Nope.
they are struggling, but that's a good
That on the
Packers
offensive
team.
side maybe, but the
Yeah,
defense has
you
been
know,
putting in work.
You're looking at Jair Alexander. You're looking at Adrian Amos. I mean, that's a good defense,
Yes,
And
facts.
so Zach Wilson's struggling there. That stinks. But when it mattered, Zach Wilson was making the plays that he needed to make. And if he can continue to do that and continue to just win us football games, I'm fine with him being at the helm for the foreseeable future.
And
Because I think he'll continue to take leaps.
Exactly. And the thing is this, like, we've seen Zach Wilson make throws that maybe 3-5 other NFL quarterbacks in this league can make. Like, people telling me, like, oh, he's got no, he's made throws that only 3 to 5 other QBs in the entire NFL can make. We don't need him making those throws every freaking game. Like, that's insane. He's only played 16 NFL games. People are like, oh, this is year 2. Nah, actually, technically, he has yet to play a full season in the NFL. This Sunday will be Zach Wilson's first full season of NFL play. That'll put him at 17 games. So the fact that everybody wants to see this huge leap when the majority of the quarterbacks are trying to compare him to did not do. Okay, Justin Herbert is an anomaly. Like, that dude just came out swinging.
Yeah.
But he is not the norm. He's the exception. People get so excited, man. They're like, oh, man, Justin Herbert did it. That is not the norm. That is literally the exception to the rule. But, like, he's going into year 2, like, after this week. Like, next week's game against, I think it's going to be the Patriots, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Patriots.
Yeah.
That'll be officially Zach Wilson's second season game.
Yeah.
Game 18 in the NFL. And for what he's done, man, coming off of the injury, having really kind of cold, really, when you think about it, he's played extremely well. The turnovers have been limited. Last year around this time when he was in the league, he was leading the league in turnovers, right? Him and freaking Trevor Lawrence were going back and forth for, hey, who's going to be this week? He's limited turnovers ever since he came back from injury. This year, even the 2 freaking turnovers he got, you can say it was 50-50. Tyler Conklin catches the ball, vice popping it up, not an interception. Elijah Moore finishes his route into the end zone, vice cutting it short. His DB doesn't roll off, gets the interception. 50-50. So he's been making the right decisions in terms of where to throw the ball. Now, granted, as you stated this week early on, like, I think Garrett Wilson had to play defensive back to prevent a couple of plays. But, again, he would have had 2 interceptions if those offensive players did their jobs too. So it's a little give and take. But I'm all about it, man. If Zach Wilson, again, doesn't throw a single pass this week and we win the game, I could care less.
Yeah.
I could care less. It's all about W's.
Yeah. Just looking at it, I mean, you say he's going into year 2. I mean, you look at the year he had last year, he's throwing to Keelan Cole.
Facts.
He's throwing to Braxton Berrios. And you look at him, you're giving him weapons to play with, and he's 3-0. So I mean, what now? It's just, that's another thing I hate is the comparison. And one of the big ones that's been coming up here in recent memory is the year 2 Josh Allen. Yeah. Josh Allen, his second season, 20 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. If that's the norm, if that's what we're going to continue to compare year 2 quarterbacks to, you're going to have one good quarterback every 10, 15 years because that's just not normal. So
Facts.
I just wanted to say that before we moved on. I hate
No.
the year, and I love Josh Allen. I love him. I love him as a quarterback. I think he's one of the craziest talents I've ever watched play football. But man, we got to stop comparing year 2 guys to him.
Not many guys are 6'6", 260 pounds, can move like he does, and throw the way he does. Josh Allen is also an alien playing quarterback.
Yeah.
But everybody, again, the Bills are doing it. Then why can't he? It's not the same player, man. Like, you can't put everybody in that year 2 box. So I'm glad you brought it up, man, because like it's been something that I've been seeing a lot on Twitter, on Instagram, and I'm like, man, you guys are just trying to find reasons to dislike Zach Wilson, and that's fine. Tell me you don't like Zach Wilson. Just tell me you don't like him. I'm okay with that. But don't try these comparisons that just don't add up.
I agree.
All right. So, okay, moving on. So, in order for the Jets to get this win on Sunday, what would you say the X factors are in order for us to do so?
Keep the ball in our hands. I think our defense is going to lock it up. I think our defense is going to continue to set up the offense. As the offense just has to take advantage of what's given to them. And I feel like in the first half they didn't do that. They didn't do that against Green Bay in the first half. I didn't feel like the offense didn't take advantage of what was given to them. Second half they continued to do that and they took what was in front of them. The defense is going to continue to set up the offense, especially against Denver. That's a struggling offense. They're getting frustrated. They're looking for that game. I don't think it's going to come this week. The offense just has to keep the ball in our hands, stay composed. Again, you're playing a very good defense. You're not going to be able to score every possession. You're not going to be able to hit it on every play. Stay composed, stay patient, and just Take what's given to you, and as long as we do that and we limit the turnovers, we're gonna win this football game.
Okay, I like that. I think I'm going to mirror that a little bit, right? I think that the running game is going to be a very important key to this game. I do believe wholeheartedly our defense is going to eat. I don't think that offense versus our defense is even a matchup. A lot of people are talking about how, their wide receivers are more accomplished than ours. In all actuality, Jerry Jeudy's best season, he had like 840 yards, 3 touchdowns. I think Cortland had 1,000-yard season, 1,100 yards, something like that, with like 7 TDs. But I do believe like our DBs could eliminate those guys from this game. Yeah. The same way, they did against the Packers. I'm a believer in what our secondary can do, right, in terms of the DBs and the safeties and those linebackers. And that D-line, got to the quarterback, stop the run. You've seen them get better each freaking week since that Pittsburgh game. And I think I don't even think they've scratched the surface yet. I think they're just going to keep getting better, bro. I really think that like we're seeing them in the infancy of what they're going to become by the end of the year. So that defense is going to do their job. I'm not worried about that. I agree with you 100%. We run the game, pick up yardage on the ground, keep that offense on the bench, keep them cold. So every time they come out there, just getting hit in the mouth by the defense. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think this week is going to be a defensive game. I know BK Trainer says the receivers will make plays in this game. We have a lot more options at the receiver than the Chargers, and we match up well. Now, he's not wrong. I do believe that after Surtain, like, I don't think anybody else can really slow down or cover our receivers. I think Surtain's going to probably eliminate freaking Garrett Wilson, maybe Elijah Moore. I don't know. One of those guys are going to get wiped out from the game. It's bound to happen. But I think the likes of Corey Davis or whoever Surtain is not covering after that can win their matchups. But I still don't believe we need to go there, man. I just don't think we need to go to the air to win this game. Now, if it gets down to that, one thing I do like about this matchup is that the Broncos have struggled in the second half. I think they've scored 5 points total going into the third quarter, like this whole season. And we've seen this version of the New York Jets apparently wake up in the second half and start lighting it up. So I think that if it gets to the point where we're talking about it, we have to start, getting some points on offense. That second half game is going to be in our favor. And our defense apparently just seems to go lights out from beginning to end, man. Like, I really think we match up well. But with that said, any given Sunday, right? Like, it's still football. I don't want to make it seem like we're going to walk in there and it's going to be an automatic dub. We still can't. We got to play mistake-free football. Russell Wilson was still a elite quarterback, in Seattle. We haven't seen it this year. Maybe he's having to adjust to the whole mile-high atmosphere, you know what I'm saying? Maybe he's struggling with his – I don't know. But this isn't the game we want to go ahead and just decide like, hey, Russell Wilson isn't a factor. Let's just go out there and pretty much put in some game tape and then get ready for the Patriots next week. We cannot be thinking ahead in this game. I think the Jets still need to go ahead and play relatively flawless football the way they played with Aaron Rodgers. But, yeah, I see the Jets coming out with a W here as well. And whether Zach Wilson throws no passes or has to throw 30 passes, I could care less. I just want to go ahead and see a win. And if we get to see Zach Wilson make a couple of highlight freaking like touchdown passes along the way that can satisfy some of the haters, then so be it, right? At this point, the Jets are freaking 4-2. We have a chance of being 5-2 on Sunday. I don't know how you can't be excited as a Jets fan.
That's crazy.
It's insane to me, bro.
It's crazy to just say out loud.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. So with that said then, what scares you the most about the Broncos this Sunday?
The defense. Surtain's been playing unreal. And, if you're Wilson, it's tough to – if you're Zach Wilson, it's tough to look at Garrett Wilson and not throw in his direction if Surtain's on him, because you want to. I mean, that's your number one guy, whatever. I think just the defense as a whole and how are we going to be able to adjust to, you're playing in the Mile High City. You're playing a very good defense. It's going to be how do we adjust as a young team to adversity, because I think we're going into a game where the odds are already stacked against us. You're playing on the road, a very good defense, very young team. So, I think it's going to be how do we adjust and how do we handle that?
Okay. All right. We got a comment here from Dom. What's up, Dom? The Packers set the blueprint on how to play the Jets. Bring pressure and make the wide receiver beat man coverage. That's where our wide receivers struggle. What do you think about that?
Man, I don't know. I I think our wide receivers were creating very good. We're creating good. Last week, obviously against Packers, they didn't create a lot of space.
Right.
And that was another part of, it wasn't just Zach Wilson struggling; it was the receivers struggling to create space. But I also thought that our tight ends were getting the ball for the first time all season this past week. So I think it's kind of okay. You can take away Garrett Wilson or Elijah Moore or whatever, but you can have our tight ends up the middle of the field, and you still got to stop Breece Hall, which no team, in my opinion, has been able to do. And Breece Hall is getting the touches. So if you put Surtain out on an island with Garrett Wilson or whoever you put him out there with, that's fine. But you still got a lot of guys on our offense that you're gonna have to cover.
And I think that's a very good point, man. I think Dom, this guy right here, Dom is a freaking like G when it comes to X's and O's. So the fact that he brought that up, I know he did his research and he knows that's an issue and he's concerned about it. But you're right though. I think that if they eliminate the wide receivers, we still got Michael Carter, we still got freaking Breece Hall, we still got freaking CJ Uzama, we've still got freaking Conklin who can catch out of the backfield. They can't cover everybody. They cannot cover everybody. And if they want to go ahead and create pressure, that means somebody's going to get open off of a rub route, of a curl route outside of the backfield. There's options there. And I think, like Dom said, right, having seen the struggle against the Packers, if LaFleur's not thinking they're probably going to use this, this same kind of game plan against us to slow us down, then is he really the offensive coordinator that we're all hoping he can be? I think he's going to hopefully create some matchups that allows him to use some quick routes to get the ball out of Zach's hands and let those playmakers just roam. But 100% right, man. Like, you're right. They could eliminate the wide receivers. Okay, cool. But who's going to stop the tight ends and the running backs coming out of the backfield? I can hear you guys. I'm assuming something good's happening on the baseball game.
They're always there. I don't know. The last I checked, it was like 7-4 or something like that. I don't know. I was watching with him for a little bit, but big guys from Philadelphia, so he's a big Eagles fan and Phillies fan, all that. So,
got you. Okay, I see that we've got another question here from Moto Marine. What's up, bro? It's been a minute. All right. So, do you think Breece or Sauce will be more impactful in this game this week?
Breece. I mean, I think that's an easy one. So the reason I say Breece is because I think the Bronco offense is struggling as is. So I mean, you've got Sauce, you've got DJ Reed, and we've continued to talk about how the safety play has been so much better in the last few weeks. So I don't think that Sauce is going to be an impact regardless, but I don't think he's going to have to be as impactful as Breece Hall is going to have to be, if that makes sense, because Breece Hall is going to get a lot of touches. And I think that Breece Hall is going to be a huge factor this game, and how Breece Hall performs is going to determine how this Jets offense is going to be able to operate.
Okay. Yeah, agreed, man. And I'm with you, man. I think Sauce is going to do what Sauce does. I'm pretty sure he's going to eliminate whatever receiver it lines up across from him in this game. But in terms of impact, yeah, I gotta go with freaking Breece, man. I think Breece is going to be that individual who's going to have to elevate this offense to go ahead and get points. You know what I'm saying? Keep freaking that offense their offense on the sideline. Breece right now is averaging, I think, 6-something yards per carry, man. Like, it's something ridiculous. Every 2 times he touches the ball, you're guaranteed a first down. And until I think a defense can actually stop him, why stop feeding him? You know what I'm saying? It's the NFL. You've got to prove that you could know what I'm gonna do all day. But even if you know it and you can't stop me, why would I change it up? It's not rocket science. Sometimes it is all about who wants it more. And in this case, Breece has been trying to make a name for himself, you know what I'm saying, since week 3. And doing so successfully and at will. So yeah, I think Breece definitely the guy, you know what I'm saying, that we need to see have an impactful game. Otherwise, I don't know. I think that without Breece, we might struggle a little bit. All right, what we got here? We got all right, Mark Reese, I see you, man. My Brady Quinn bold take. Jets are 7-2 at the bye. Let's go. All right. 7-2 with the bye. How realistic do you think that is? 7-2 with the bye.
I don't want to be that, but it would be 6. Our buys is after the Patriots game, so I think he probably meant 6-2. He probably meant 6-2, but I say 6-2 with the bye is very realistic right now. You know, we play the Broncos, we play the Patriots. I mean, those are 2 extremely winnable games in my opinion. You know, I mean, if if Mac Jones is quarterbacking for the Patriots, we're going to absolutely eat him alive. Even if it's Bailey Zappi, I mean, the wheels are gonna have to fall off the train at some point. I mean, that's not Tom Brady. I know that's what Patriots fans are trying to build up, and the media is trying to build up. That's not Tom Brady. That's just, he's whatever. But I think the Jets at 6-2 going into the bye is very realistic, extremely realistic. And if you're 6-2 at the bye, we're gonna go to the playoffs. I think 100%. We're gonna go to the playoffs now. But 6-2 at the bye, and you get the back half of the schedule where you get to play the Patriots again, the Bears, the Jaguars, Lions, Seahawks. I mean, you can get to 11, sneak one out, maybe 12 wins.
So it's crazy you said that, right? So for me, I was looking at this and I said to myself, all right, we're talking about playing, like you said, the Broncos, then the Patriots. We get those 2 wins, we're at 6-2. Now, of all the teams in the AFC East this year, in my predictions, the only team I had a sweeping was the Patriots. And a lot of people think I'm crazy for that because it's freaking Bill Belichick and blah, blah, blah. Look, at the end of the day, Bill Belichick in that organization right now does not have the level of continuity it once had, right? That we have a defensive guy calling offensive plays. And getting up tape on any player, you're able to figure out what to do to go ahead and slow them down. Zappy, congratulations. You've been able to go ahead and play some teams that weren't ready for you. But now you might be the starter, you might not. But nonetheless, we've got tape on Zappy, we've got tape on Mac Jones. And I think a competent game plan to eliminate like what those guys do, they have such a limited roster. What people were once afraid of going, up against freaking Bill Belichick. At the end of the day, this is the NFL, man. You need talent to win games. And if you don't have it, good luck. And I don't think their talent matches up with what the Jets have to bring to the table. So yeah, man, like I'm with you, man. I think 6-2 is very, very doable. Come back from that bye, we play, I think, the Buffalo Bills, and that's a story for a different day, right? But ultimately, I think going into these next 2 games, the Jets should be favored to win, which I've noticed that recently the Jets have just now become favored to win against the Broncos, when before they were supposed to be underdogs, 3-point underdogs. Now we're favored to win.
Are they the favorite? They're the favorite now?
Yeah, I just saw it pop up on BUSR that they were the favorite. So, like, you can see it shifting now, right? The tides are shifting. So, man, I don't know, Doc. It's one of those situations where, like, it's the Jets. And this is happening to the Jets. It's exciting. It's a great time to be alive. And this is why this makes this so much more fun, because of the fact that the Jets are winning. We can have these kind of like uplifting conversations, vice the depressing stuff we're accustomed to as a fan base. Motor Marine with another question. Is Carter a moot point? I'm going to assume he means running back, Michael Carter. Okay, I'm going to assume Michael Carter, the running back, being a moot point with the Breece Hall conversation. What are your expectations for Michael Carter right now for the rest of the season, or on this roster in general?
I think Michael Carter, I mean, you're looking at him, I think they're using him perfectly. They're letting Breece Hall, do the dirty work. I don't want to say other way around, I guess, actually. Michael Carter's doing a lot of the dirty work. He's really been that third down back. If we need
goal line
2 or 3 yards. That's what I'm saying. We're throwing Carter out there if we need 2 or 3 yards, and I think that's the perfect way. When we drafted Breece Hall, I was like, all right, cool. We've got a first, second down back. If we need a yard or 2 on third, or even a yard or 2 on second, whatever, you throw Michael Carter out there who can guarantee you a few yards. Our running back room is so fun to watch, and I think that Breece Hall works so well off Michael Carter, and I think Michael Carter works very well off Breece Hall. It's just. Our running back set. I love it.
It's a 1-2 punch, man. It's what you're talking about. That whole running back by committee aspect doesn't always necessarily mean a 50-50. Sometimes you just need a guy to go ahead and be able to spell, and they can both do the same thing. What's great about it is, like, you don't need to change the game plan when one comes into the game and one has to get out. Like, we legitimately have, in my opinion, 2 running back ones. So, no, I don't think Michael Carter becomes a moot point. Yes, I think clearly defined right now, Breece Hall is on another level, the different tier. But in terms of what both those guys do, they can both do it well. I just think you got Breece Hall that's doing it a little bit at an elite level, vice just well. So Mark Reese is correcting us right now. He's saying that
he's right.
Is he right? So we got Buff.
Notes.
Okay.
I misread my notes. I apologize.
For some
Mark.
reason, I thought we played. You know what, Mark? Good call. I thought the same thing for some reason. I thought we played him after the bye.
I apologize.
So that's why he's saying 7-2. So Mark, you're telling me, I want you to type this in. You're saying the Jets are going to go ahead and beat the Buffalo Bills before the bye. We're about to go.
That's.
Man.
I don't think we're there yet. I don't think we're there yet.
Right. I'm not saying it's not possible. Again, any given Sunday. Right. But Mark, you're sitting here telling me that the New York Jets are going to go 3-0 in their next 3 to get to 7-2.
If the Jets are 7-2 with the bye, I'm going to be absolutely insufferable on social media.
Oh God,
right?
Yeah,
if you're not a Jets fan. If you're not
I'm gonna get blocked.
Jets fan, friend me, follow me. Yeah, block me because
I'm gonna get
that's
blocked.
all I'm going to talk about. That's all I'm going to talk
Non-stop. If the Jets beat the Buffalo Bills, if Mark Rich right now he's coming from the future, and he's predicting a Jets sweep of these next 3 games. I'm gonna say it right now. I'm going to say it right now. We're going to be the number 1 seed in the AFC.
Oh yeah. Why not, baby?
That's
Why
what
not?
You're saying, Mark. Mark, you're telling me that we beat the freaking Bills. If we beat the Bills, the Jets are the number 1 seed in the AFC because that's the team to beat right now. And I'm not talking about like the Miami Dolphins beat them when they had like half their freaking defense on, injured reserve, hurt. I'm talking about a healthy freaking Bills team. Right now they're healthy. So playing them in 2 weeks, I'm saying, knock on wood, nothing, pops up. Those guys are healthy. They just beat the freaking Kansas City Chiefs. If you're telling me the Jets can beat Buffalo and we going into the bye at 7-2, you're in essence saying you believe the New York Jets are going to be the number 1 seed in the AFC. That's what I'm hearing. I mean, what do you think, Jett? Is that what you're hearing?
That's what I'm hearing. And you know what? It sounds great. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe we are. Maybe we win these next 2 games in very convincing fashion. Maybe 2 weeks from now, we're looking at this Bills game. We're like, all right, we can do the doggone thing, But right now, I don't know if we're there yet, especially against that defense. I mean, that's the best defense in football right there.
Yeah.
So maybe, like I said, in 2 weeks, maybe we're having a different conversation. But I don't think we're on the Bills level just yet.
Man. Dark Soldier, what's up, bro? Appreciate you stopping by, man. One of my original subscribers. Every time I see him, I got to give him a shout out. Mark again. All right, here we go. I didn't think we would have 2-game or 3-game win streak either, so why not? And I love the mentality. And very well said, right? Like, he just stated that he did not think that we would be in a situation right now where we'd have a 2 and or a 3-game winning streak. So why not? And the Jets have been playing well enough for us to sit there and be like, well, damn. These boys look good, right? So it's not out of the realm of possible. If you had told me this like freaking 2-3 weeks ago, I'd have been like, you're insane. We don't have a chance against Buffalo. That roster is just disgustingly stacked. Mm-hmm. But what he's saying right now is, why not the Jets? If we could have the kind of a freaking season that the Bengals did last year, right? That Cinderella season, the Buffalo Bills are in the way of that. So why not the Jets? So all I'm saying is if we go 7-2, Mark, I'm telling you, man, I'm gonna get blocked on so many social media forums because there's no way I'm gonna be able to contain myself. It's gonna be impossible to contain myself.
It'll be tough. Because if I'm this excited after we beat the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau, we beat the Buffalo Bills, man. Yeah, get them out of here. Get them out of here.
It's a wrap.
We're in the Super Bowl.
I'm gonna start saying stuff like that. Going through the Super Bowl, boys. It's happening. This is it. Dark Soldier, if they beat Buffalo, they will be second in power ranking. When you say they, do you mean the Jets or the Buffalo Bills? Because I would assume Buffalo right now is the number 1 in power rankings. Well, I guess the Philadelphia Eagles are, since they're undefeated. But I mean, second in the power rankings, man. Like the Jets are at like number 8 to 12 right now on average, and I think for the majority of us, we're like, wow, talk about a 32nd to that 8 to 12 range. That to me has been in itself just astounding. So now we're talking about number 2 in the NFL with arguably one of the youngest rosters in the NFL. Do you know how scary that would be for the league? Terrifying. Because we're not doing it with a bunch of high-priced veterans. Mm-hmm. If the New York Jets were second in the league in power rankings and you beat a team like the Buffalo Bills, who is a Super Bowl favorite, with a young squad like this, bruh, the ability to go ahead and get free agents, which we already know Coach Saleh has proven he's really good at. Imagine being that free agent that's like, man, these guys are dogs. They've got the ability, they've got the willpower, and they've got the money. I'm going to go over there and play with the Jets. I mean, granted, it's not how you want to build a roster, but it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to have those kind of options when it comes to free agency. I bet you Tyreek Hill will have some regrets about taking that tax break in Miami.
Yeah, those state taxes won't look too bad when we're 7-2 at the bye. For 7-2 at the bye, give Joe Douglas a lifetime contract.
100%.
Come on.
I've been on record saying we need to give it to him now. I've been on record saying, like, what are we waiting on? Pay that man. He's shown us enough because the level of talent that we've seen on this roster, I don't think we've ever seen it collectively, at least not in my 2 decades of being a Jets fan, at this level of youth. We've seen the pieces here, pieces there, but at the level of youth we have on this roster, I've never seen it before. Joe Douglas has literally taught a masterclass on how to build a roster from the ground up. He's brought a JV college freaking or a JV high school talent-wise team to the NFL level in 3 seasons, and that to me is insane.
That's crazy. That's crazy to think about.
Yeah, Mark, great. He says we have a legit top 10 defensive line, top 10 secondary. We have a shot. Lockdown Diggs and Davis in Buffalo. Run game is meh. Besides Josh, he's right.
Why not? Why not? Mark, you've sold me on it.
Yeah, he really has, though. Like, I'm sitting here like, he's not wrong. We've got 2 top 10 defensive backs in the league. We're the only team in the NFL with 2 top 10 DBs on the roster. The only team up to week 6 that has 2 of them. And, like, Michael Carter II is top 15.
Yeah.
Bro, like, he's...
Even Brandon Echols has been playing.
Yes, he's been balling. If he had the snap count, I think freaking Dom or Wicker Media said this. If he had the snap count, he'd be top 20 in consideration. But he hasn't hit the snap count yet. But man, now Mark's got me excited, bro. Like now I'm thinking crazy.
I gotta reel it back in. I gotta focus on the Broncos. I gotta focus on the Patriots.
Broncos. What are we doing?
But
Broncos. I see you, Mark. I see you, bro. Jets mess. What's up, brother? Nice to see you, man. He says maybe we beat the Bills the second game. I think the first game's away. If I'm not mistaken, the first game's at Buffalo.
I don't know about
No.
Actually,
It's in New York.
It's in New York. First game's in New York.
First game's in New York. Or, I'm sorry, at MetLife Stadium, because I don't want to offend Buffalo Bills fans from Canada.
Fans.
Yeah,
they
get so salty. Yeah, so insecure, bro. It's kind of comical at this point.
Super Bowl first, and then
you know what I'm saying? Then you can go, like, until you do that, like, we don't stop it. Just stop it. Okay, so beat the Bills the second game. So he's saying we would beat them at home, vice at our house. I mean, the Jets are undefeated on the road right now. At Zach Wilson on the helm. You know what I'm saying? Road warrior for real. So maybe, you know what I'm saying? Maybe that makes more sense.
Split against the Bills. I mean, you're feeling pretty good.
Oh, 100%.
If you split against the, you're feeling pretty good.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I did not come into this season thinking we had a chance at beating the Bills. I thought we were gonna go. They were gonna sweep us 2-0. I thought we could sweep the Patriots and we would split with the Dolphins because the Dolphins, I think, also in terms of talent, we're right there with them in terms of fighting for second place in terms of they have top heavy talent. I think we have more overall talent, and so I had them at we're vying for second place in the division. So to split with Buffalo, I'm on board for that all day.
Yeah,
I'm on board for that all day.
Every day.
Yes, because that is telling. Buffalo hasn't. Oh, I like this one. So Mark says Buffalo hasn't met Brady, Garrett, Elijah, Corey, and he's right though. Like in all actuality, this team has so many good weapons and above, right? If you look at that line right there, Brees, Garrett, Elijah, Corey, Michael Carter, Uzama, and Conklin, they're good or better. Worst case scenario, Uzama is average, right? But everybody else is good or better. And I don't think any team has seen a more complete group of talent like this team has. Now, again, we're not top heavy. There's nobody that just pops out and you're like, oh my God, all pro, freaking like this guy's elite. No, but every single player on that offense is good or better.
Yeah. You have to do something about them. You have to.
Exactly.
You can't
ignore anyone
leave them alone. Yeah.
Facts. Man, Mark really got me thinking, man, like, damn.
Mark's
right.
got me on the Super Bowl train.
You know what I'm
Mark's got me
saying?
on the Super Bowl train.
Here I am talking about AFC wild card like consideration, and he's over
Maybe
here
we
like,
win 10 games.
maybe we get to 10. He's like, boom, AFC Championship, boys, Super Bowl. I'm like,
love it.
wow. All right, Mark.
I love it.
All right. Okay, so then we got Sergeant Mike. Hey, what's up, man? It's been a little bit. Was waiting for you to go ahead and check in. So Sergeant Mike hits us with, if you're smart, you took the Jets at 200-1 for the Super Bowl before the draft. Next year, our odds to repeat Super Bowl would just be 20-1. I'm not gonna lie to you. I did. I bet $100 on it just because why not?
Really?
I did. I bet $100 that they were gonna go. I'm sorry. I bet 500 that they were gonna go ahead and beat the 7 game total wins. So like I'm on track right now to go ahead and take my family on a nice trip this summer.
That's looking pretty good. That's looking really good.
Oh yeah.
I predicted them to win 8 games.
I had them at 9. I had them at 9 games. But I think right now both of us are probably gonna look at it and be like, they're in double digits.
That's fair. So when I did it on my TikTok, I posted, I in my mind, I think that the Jets can sweep the Dolphins. But I gave the Dolphins the last game of the season just because, just so no one gets upset with me, whatever. And it put us at 8 wins. But man, if you told me we're 4-2, potentially, winning these next 2, getting to 6-2, I probably wouldn't have believed you.
No, I wouldn't have. I mean, now I'm thinking maybe it's possible because, Mark Reese over here got me all kinds of pumped and ecstatic, right? But yeah, I got the 200-1 odds for the Super Bowl. I mean, I was just like, man, I got the extra hundo. Why not just do it on there? Because you never know. That's going to be a hell of a payday. It's a hell of a payday if they make it.
Talk about a nice trip. Bruh,
we going first class to Dubai because I've been wanting to go there for a minute. I'm taking the kids and the wife. We going to Dubai.
There you go.
Dark Soldier screw that, offend them. Yes, my daughter was just like, what? Dubai? I'm like, well, this is if the Jets win the Super Bowl. Daddy got some money on the game, so just relax. She comes into the studio like, Dubai? I'm like, just go to your room. It's bedtime. I got school tomorrow. We got the Buffalo. Hey, what up, Buffalo? Always a pleasure, man. This is one of the guys that I won't lie, man. There's a bunch of guys I want to say thank you to, man, because these guys got me on their show like early on, and it made me realize just how much fun it would be to go ahead and do like this level of interaction with individuals. These guys jumping on and then asking the questions and showing support and the love. Appreciate you guys, man, for logging on. But I mean, we've gotten to that point now where we're over the hour mark, and there's one more question I got to ask you, brother. And I appreciate you again, man, for taking out the time.
Absolutely, man.
So we just talked about, going through the Super Bowl, you know what I'm saying, how we're going to go ahead and sweep through the freaking rest of our schedule, compliments of Mark. But with that said, how badly do we beat the Broncos this weekend? What's your prediction on this weekend's game?
Broncos aren't scoring a touchdown this weekend. Give me the Jets. Give me 20-12 this weekend.
Ooh, 20-12.
20-12.
All right, 20-12.
Book it.
I like that. All right. So, again, I don't know if you've been watching my videos, so I'm going to go ahead and do this. As we've been talking this whole time, I've talked about how I think the Jets can win this game. However, in homage to what I've done, I'm batting freaking like 1,000 and predicting wrong what the Jets are going to do. So I want to make sure I maintain that batting average. All right? So I'm going to predict the Baltimore Ravens. Wow. Where'd that come from? I'm going to predict the Denver Broncos, win this game 21-10. The Broncos.
Yeah. I got you.
You got me?
I got you.
The Broncos are going to win this game 21-10. And I do believe it's going to be more so a defensive like game. I don't think it's going to be a lot of high scoring. I think it's going to be an efficient game from Zach. If you wanted to see him throw for 4 or 5 touchdowns, that's just not going to happen this game. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be, again, a combination of the running game and that defense come into play. I do see a couple of turnovers going in our favor ultimately. Like you said, I don't think Russell Wilson scores a touchdown. I can see a rushing touchdown, but I don't see him getting a touchdown. So I'm going to go 21-10. Denver Broncos win this game. Mark, Gunny's family Dubai trip sponsored by Mark Reese. Ludicrous football predictions. Hey, Mark, and I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you because, like I said before, if the Jets go to the Super Bowl and win this thing, I'm buying tickets to Dubai for the family, and it's gonna be first class because that's a hell of a payday. Hey, man. So again, Jhett, I appreciate you for coming out, brother. Go ahead and tell the people where they can go ahead and find you, brother.
Yeah, so I do the YouTube thing as well with my cousin. We do sports content, other related content at Off the Tracks. We're on YouTube. You follow me on TikTok. That's where I'm most active at Jhett Garrett, JhettGarrett. I'm posting football content, basketball content, baseball content, all types of content over there. Twitter, where this all kind of sparked from. Thank goodness. Thank you so much for having me on here as well. I just want to say that this has been an absolute blast. I love you guys. At Jhett Garrett as well, JhettGarrett. And Instagram as well, same thing, Jhett Garrett.
Jhett, I appreciate you, brother. It's been great, and I will definitely be having you on again. Definitely
Absolutely.
one of my more fun guests to have on the show.
Absolutely.
And yeah, man, I'll let you know when, because I know you got a busy schedule over there. I'll let you know when, man. Let me know you can make it.
Absolutely. I'm here. You asked me, I'm here.
All right, bet. Consider that done. Well, gentlemen, it's been fun. Have a good night. And again, thank you guys for joining us. And as always, go Jets.